Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have swatches for you from the What's the Scoop collection from the brand China Glaze for summer 2023. These are available right now, so in the description box I will link the China Glaze site, I will link their Instagram page, and then I will link my Instagram page where you can see more swatches of everything from today's video. So we do have 6 neons. They are advertised as creams, but they apply as jellies. So for the sake of making the best of both worlds happen, I will call them a crelly. So we have 6 neon crellies jellies to look at today, and let's go ahead and get started.
So first we have Tan-burr-ine, and this is a neon pink cream. So here's our first coat of Tan-burr-ine. This is pretty sheer here on this first coat, but this was the only polish in the collection that I was okay with in 2 coats. And honestly, that was pushing the line for me. I probably, if I were wearing this, would opt to go in for 3. It does have a good formula though. I didn't have any kind of running, pooling, or staining. This one does lean more on the jelly side, so it does have a nice even application if you wanted to use it as like a jelly sandwich. So here's our second coat, and like I said, it was pushing it. I probably should have gone in for 3. Like most neons, this is going to dry pretty satiny, so if you don't love that, you'll want top coat to finish this off. But since it's just a cream, nothing is going to dry textured and nothing will give you any kind of trouble with removal. And also with neons, I do recommend always going in for a base coat to prevent stains. So there are 2 coats of Tan-burr-ine. Next up we have Cupper Cone, and this one is a neon pastel leaning pink cream. So here's our first coat of cup or cone. I had the hardest time saying that. This is pretty sheer on this first coat. The evenness is okay. You'll see as I build it up, it becomes more and more uneven. So it's definitely not one that I would say you could wear as a sheer with visible nail line showing. It's looking better on camera, but it definitely was more patchy in person. Here's our second coat, and that builds up well in 2 coats where if it wasn't as patchy, I probably would have stopped in 2, but I am showing you 3 to cover up the patchy spots. This was my favorite color of the collection. I'm a sucker for these kind of softer bubblegum pink cream colors, and this one was no exception. Definitely my favorite. I also didn't have any kind of running, pooling, or staining with this one. The formula was nice to work with. So there's that third coat, and it did bring it full circle to a nice plump finished looking manicure. This is going to dry on the satiny side just like the rest of the collection, so if you don't love that, you'll want top coat. Removal's easy and nothing stained. So there are 3 coats of cup or cone. Next up we have Glad You Melt Me, and this is a very artificial mac and cheese colored orange cream. Here's our first coat of Glad You Melt Me. This one is a pure jelly. It's very sheer on this first coat. You could definitely use this one as jelly sandwiches, or honestly in combination with other pure jellies to create like a different color if you wanted to. The formula is good. It's not too thick or too thin, just very sheer, but it does have a very even application like I said. So here's our second coat, and you can still plainly see my visible nail line. Spoiler alert, I am going to do 3 coats, and I wasn't able to hide my nail line completely. If that's something that bothers you, you could use this one as a topper over a white base, but I've never gone through that trouble for neon, and I don't plan on starting now. So here is that third coat, and just like everything else, this is going to dry to that satiny finish. So if you're not a big fan, you might want to finish this off with a glossy top coat or matte top coat, just whatever your little heart fancies. And there are 3 coats of Glad You Melt Me. Next up we have Berry Yummy, and this one is a softer but bright kind of dandelion yellow cream. Here's our first coat of Berry Yummy. So all things considered, this one does cover pretty well here on this first coat. It's obviously streaky, obviously patchy, and obviously sheer, so it is going to have to be built up, but it is a neon and it is a yellow. Well, it's not like a bright neon yellow like a highlighter yellow, but you can tell from application that this is derived of a neon yellow pigment. So overall, I am happy with how this one is formulated. 2 coats, I still had some patching problems, but it did get completely rectified on that 3rd coat. I had no running, no pulling, no staining. However, neon pigments do have the tendency to stain, so I would recommend with all neons to wear a base coat. This one, just like everything else in this collection, will dry to that kind of satin-like finish, so I would suggest using a base coat if you don't like your nails stained. And since this has no added elements to it, it will be easy to remove and it won't dry textured. So there are 3 coats of Berry Yummy. Next up we have Frozen in Lime, and this is a slime green leaning cream. Here's our first coat of Frozen in Lime. This was the biggest disappointment of the collection for me, or the really, truly, and honestly, the only disappointment of the collection for me. I was stoked for this color, but you'll see as I build it up, I did 3 coats and I still had patchy spots, and I'm just simply not one to go in for a 4th coat. So I was super upset about this one, but it is a really pretty color once it's fully built up. I was obviously working in thinner coats. You'll see on my middle finger here, I had to dip back in to even get more polish, but still, I just was not super stoked with this one, but the color is beautiful. The formula is good, not too thick or too thin, just sheer and patchy. So here's our 3rd coat, and most spots are covered in 3 coats, but I still had some patchies. You'll want some top coat to finish this off. It is going to dry dull to that satin finish. So a top coat will make this one look nice, plump, and finished, and removal is easy. So there are 3 coats of Frozen in Lime. And lastly for today we have Freezer Burns, and this is a neon blue cream. And here's our first coat of Freezer Burns. I was expecting this one to be much more pigmented than it is, but it is more of that true jelly finish. It's not super duper even, so it might not be one that you can wear just with your visible nail line if you're not into like the uneven application look. You might want to build this one up. And it's also going to reflect unevenness if you layer it over a white. So this one's really only good if you're okay building it up in 2 to 3 coats. The formula itself is great. Again, not too thick or too thin, a nice creamy application, just uneven. You'll want some top coat to finish this off. It is going to dry on that dull side, that nice satin finish that we all know and love that accompanies a neon 100% of the time. Nothing is going to dry textured. Nothing will be difficult to remove. Here is our 3rd coat, and also with neon blues specifically, I feel like they have a funny smell to them. It could just be me, but this one definitely had that funny smell. I also had a couple pigment chunks in here, but they were very far and few in between and easy to get rid of, so there are 3 coats. So here is a look at the collection as a whole. My favorite was definitely Cup or Cone. It's a very summery color to me. This definitely wasn't my favorite neon polish collection that I've ever received. They weren't terrible. That green I was so excited for. It looked so much better on camera than it did in person, but it was just very patchy still after 3 coats, and I cannot bring myself to do a 4th coat of nail polish color. So overall, they were fine. I just don't know that I'll probably reach for any of them anytime soon since they weren't the best.
And guys, that is it. Let me know in the comments what you thought of these polishes. Let me know if you plan on picking any of them up, and let me know what your favorite was. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe if you'd like to see more from me, and I will talk to you again next time.